All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball. Week 6 recap is officially here. Let's just get straight into it. Another week, 4 teams on by. My team was on by this week, so I didn't really have, obviously, much into it. Get a little more into the rest of the game. So, Christian, let's just get right into it.
Yeah, so kicking it off with Thursday Nighter, and obviously this was one of our disagreements, and unfortunately this song couldn't walk away with this one with the final miscues going on at the end of the game here. But this is pretty much San Francisco's momentum starting from the beginning of the game here. I mean, Brock Purdy was leading this offense, looked really great in the past game there, and obviously with Jordan Mason going out with an injury for quite some time here, and I think it was their other running
Isaac
back,
Guerrero.
Isaac Guerrero there. I think he's a
Which iced the
rookie,
game.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the rookie. He
Iced
did end
the
up.
game at the end with that long
He,
run.
he ended up icing the game, and he put up a nice debut there. And obviously, with Mason coming back for a little bit, it kind of lowered it a little bit there for kind of get the pressure off from there. But Isaac Guerrero, he did still make another impact for the Niners run game, which did obviously help elevate Brock Purdy in the pass game, which was the big reason why the Niners got into this. But the Seahawks, they had a lot of momentum coming into the second half. They looked like they were starting to come back. Obviously, Geno was still getting active in the pass game. I know, the miscues and the turnovers still, a big thing with him there. But obviously, the long run pretty much iced the game there. And, Seahawks starting 3-0, moving down to 3-3. Still got to start drawing up a lot of questions from now on here.
Absolutely. And, my claims of the Seahawks being frauds, being ever so stronger little by little. But we'll move it into the Sunday slate. Another London game, getting up bright and early for the Jaguars and the Bears. Now that obviously no one really wanted to do that, but I did it to give you guys the analysis for it. Caleb Williams, just a phenomenal game for him. I know it's the Jaguars defense, but I mean to go for 220, 4 touchdowns, that interception, I guess you could call a blemish, but doesn't do much. I mean, overall, he's just really clicking. In a way, hey, are we starting to see that he's slowly working his way back into that Rookie of the Year mix? Obviously he's got a long way to go overall, but if he continues this play, he's been on the rise ever since roughly that Rams game, kind of really growing into this offense. And it's nice to see the top pick playing this way. Obviously, Keenan Allen, 2 touchdowns, someone who's had a lot of struggles throughout the season, at least through the early part of the season, to finally get back into it. And Cole Kmet, 2 touchdowns, and to have to get in there and hold on the extra points as he's serving as the backup holder, as he got hurt in the first quarter. But just overall a pretty complete game for the Bears. Good for them. I think, what are they, 4-2 right now? Everything's going up good for them. And as for the Jaguars, pretty ugly. Only broad spot, you get Gabe Davis 2 touchdowns, but overall didn't really play that good of a game. And if we're being honest, the only reason that Doug Peterson still has a job is, you think about it, they're playing in London next week. So I think it kind of makes sense that they're going to hold on to him at least through the trip. But I think a loss next week probably would be it for him. But just overall, it just gets bad to worse for the 1-5 Jaguars.
Yeah, there's a lot of things stirring up, but then obviously the coaching still a big lead to there. The coaching still a pretty big impact that they have there, negatively. So we're just going to have to see what happens next week. And now moving on with the Cardinals and the Packers here, and Jordan Love coming back from the injury from 2 weeks ago, he's looking better. He's looking really good, capping out 4 touchdowns to Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Jayden Reed, which was one of the couple guys that we did expect to step up on this receiving end for the Green Bay Packers here. And it really showed out against this Cardinals team really early on. The Cardinals, they were pushing just a little bit before the second half there. It looked like they were getting it, but once again, the big issue with this game that happened was, this Packers defense, they were forcing the turnovers and the fumbles, the interceptions, and they were really getting to this Cardinals offense there. And obviously the run game with James Conner, it wasn't really looking that great. Obviously the rookie Trey Benson, he had to come in there to really help Kyler out as well, but really not really had no help out. Obviously not gonna be too much blame on Kyler as well. The O-line, it wasn't living up as well, so that was another big issue there. But again, coming to the second half, the Packers, they just kept going, and Jordan Love kept slinging it. The run game with Josh Jacobs was getting it going, and it was pretty much solidified the game there. Coming into the second half, like I said here, it looked like the Cardinals were coming back. They were down. I think it was a touchdown and a couple points here and there, but again, the miscues and the turnovers kind of slowed it down a bit, and the Packers, they just kept slinging it. So the Packers, they're moving up 4-2. Jordan Love looks great, and looking at this division with the NFC North is looking very, very competitive.
Obviously, another one of those disagreements that came into this. the Cardinals finally didn't go against whenever I picked them. So I guess I finally got one right for them. But moving into the Colts and the Titans, another all-important divisional matchup in this AFC South, and the Colts got it done. Was looking a little dicey early, but Joe Flacco, the ageless wonder, I mean, just doing what he had to do and ended up pulling out the win. Sub 200, but the 2 touchdowns, that obviously was the big part. And I think a big key to look at, I mean, Josh Downs, we saw obviously so much from last season. Really expected him to really come into his own this year. Didn't see much, but the last 3 games, including this one, he's over 60 yards each of these games. Might not think of much for 60 yards, but overall, he's really getting himself more and more involved. Really could see him coming back into that second role behind Michael Pittman, which Michael Pittman, little by little, really starting to gain back that form. I mean, he had a couple grown man catches, really solidifying. I believe it was a 3rd and long to ice this game. Shane Steichen throwing out a ballsy play, and Michael Pittman coming down with it. Just this Colts offense, they're looking like they're really hitting their stride. I mean, no, it's a struggling Titans team, but regardless, it's very good to see out of this team, even with a backup quarterback. And like, as for the Titans, time's running out on Will Levis. I was pretty high on him ever since he got in here, but I mean, his play, it's getting alarming, and it's getting late for the Titans might be time for them to make a move. They look nice with Mason Rudolph. It might be time to throw him into the mix pretty soon. And I mean, your star receiver is already pretty upset. He's not getting involved early in the games. Calvin Ridley's already talking to me, that said that he's got to get involved early. And I think what do you have, like 8 targets, no catches, which he probably could do better with those targets, but Will Levis isn't really giving him quality targets. So there's a lot of questions to be asked for this Titans team.
Yeah, Will Levis is definitely in play with the conversation why this Titans team is struggling there. I mean, the run game is getting going with Tony Pollard, but again, it just lays on all the quarterback play and see what the officials are going to go with the Titans team with Will Levis. And now moving on with the Texans and the Patriots team, and the struggles they continue for this Patriots team. They announced Jacoby Brissett is going to get benched, Drake May is going to get the start, and don't get me wrong, Drake May's debut wasn't horrible. It was sloppy. Don't get me wrong there, but he was getting active in the offense. With the 2 touchdown passes to I think one was to Russell Douglas and Hunter Henry, and then Hunter Henry did end up getting another one. I think just at the second half or a little bit just before there, but I could get it mixed up just between there. But again, he had no help. And the O-line, I mean, coming into this game, this is the 6th offensive line rotation that the Patriots have done this whole season so far. Yeah, already have 6, and it's already coming close to mid-season, so that's already some eye openers there. And then the run game, Drake May being their lead rusher on 5 of 10 for 38 yards when Antonio Gibson was going to be the main guy now. I mean, there's a lot of issues going on with this Patriots offense, and sure, yes, they did show some flashes, like I said, with Drake May, getting the couple touchdown passes in the pass game, getting a little open. But again, there's really no supporting cast around them. I know Demario Douglas had the game for them, but the O-line, the run game, it's a lot of issues going on with Drake May there, and we're gonna see how it holds up coming to the rest of the season here. Obviously for the Texans, Joe Mixon's return, 102 yards and a touchdown. Really great to see from that injury. He's back to where he left off here. So again, the run game is going to be a huge impact with him back there. And then with Nico Collins out as well, Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, they stepped it up today for CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, he still had a little questionable throws, interception in the game as well. But once again, he's going to be able to find a way to pick this through there, and just another dominant win from this Texas team.
Yeah, and I mean, look, to me, there was a sound debut for Drake May. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, to see him get three total touchdowns, and being over that 200-yard mark. I mean, obviously we weren't expecting much, but for him to have those kind of numbers on a debut, it does give you good signs if you're a Patriots fan. But move it into the Buccaneers and the Saints, and you look in the scoreboard. I mean, it doesn't tell the full story. Sure, it was a 51-27. You think of a blowout, but the Saints were up 27-24 at halftime, and that was after a 17-0 deficit in the first quarter. I mean, this was just a really back and forth game throughout the first half overall, and then obviously it was a rough second half for the Saints. And obviously the Rattler, Spencer Rattler's debut in the absence of Derek Carr, he played well. Yeah. It was a solid debut. I'm not gonna give him any knocks. I mean, it was just the rough second half really leaves a sour taste in your mouth. But overall, I mean, I think the Saints can feel pretty good having him to back up there. But just overall, I mean, I really just want to get into the Buccaneers offense in this game. I mean, 594 total yards on offense. That's the big eye opener here. Just I mean, phenomenal play overall. The run game, more than anything, that duo that we expected Rashad White to be, obviously, one of the bigger pieces. Rookie Bucky Irving and second year Sean Tucker. I mean, them combining, I don't know the exact number they combined for, but obviously they were a big part of that 600-yard day. And on the receiving end, very slow game for Mike Evans, only, I believe, 34 yards. That was because Chris Godwin just went absolutely insane, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, just in general, I mean, couldn't ask for anything more from this Buccaneers team. And look, they're rolling. Obviously, they're got a really tight race with the Falcons right now to the top of the NFC South. Gonna be a really good one to see moving forward.
Yeah, this is a straight domination in the second half for this Bucs team, and it's nice to see Baker still balling out, and that run game from that Bucs team is gonna be deadly moving forward. And now moving in with the Browns and the Eagles, and the struggles for the Browns. This Browns team, they continue to struggle as we went over already. Cooper's already a Buffalo Bill here, so this receiving end is going to be led by Jerry Jeudy. And outside of Jerry Jeudy, it's pretty much David Njoku. So this offense is already looking at a huge struggle moving forward, especially with Deshaun Watson. And, again, has Deshaun Watson been playing poorly this season? Yes. But again, his O-line allowing 5 sacks today against his Eagles pass rush is still left a big factor there. And there's gonna be a point in time this season where this Browns defense, they're not going to be able to hold their way anymore, because looking at this game, their defense gave them so many opportunities for this Browns offense to cap off some points. And sure, for the most part, they did capitalize on some of that, but towards the second half, the Eagles, they just kept going. Jalen Hurts was getting more involved in the pass game, which is something I actually wanted to see more with Jalen, is the pass game. We see how he was iffy the past couple weeks in the pass game there, with the run game not being there. I mean, sure, Saquon I guess you could say Saquon had a shitter, 18 attempts for 47 yards with the rush game. Really wasn't that much of an impact there, but Jalen Hurts, he got it done 264 yards and a touchdown, so this pass game was getting going. But the bigger question is Nick Sirianni. I mean, come on, you just beat this struggling Browns team. You're chirping against your own fans. I mean, that's just already really a bad sign to look at there. But look, with the Eagles, they're 3-2. They managed to go past all of those negative impacts there. It's just, Sirianni, you can say what you want. They got it done against the Cleveland Browns team.
Yeah, regardless, you only win by 4 against the second worst team in the league right now. It is alarming for the Eagles. We expected so much more out of them, but see how they go moving forward. But obviously, looking into the team at the top of their division, the Commanders and the Ravens. This game was billed as pretty much the game of the week going into it, and hey, it absolutely delivered. I mean, just overall with this Ravens team, I mean, they just look for real, man. I mean, they're just offensively, they're a juggernaut. I mean, defense, obviously, we can get so much into that, but I mean, we knew the biggest part once they acquired Derrick Henry was gonna be, that run game, and how much they could spread it out with him and Lamar. And, we got to see so much of that right here. They both had each every opportunity. I believe on a third down near the end that they were able to ice this game. You just knew, are they going to run it down the throat with Henry, or is Lamar going to get an option to the outside? And hey, Lamar iced it pretty beautifully on that. And look, we usually expect mid-wide receiver play for this Ravens team as of the last couple weeks. Zay Flowers absolutely went off, 132 yards on 9 receptions. So obviously not getting into the end zone, but who cares? That's all that they needed to get this win. And I mean, look, as for Washington, I mean, nothing to be ashamed of on this loss. I mean, sure, there were a couple missed opportunities, couple times that I guess, they could have gone in the red zone, just outside the red zone or in the red zone. They blew a couple chances, but I mean, it is this Ravens defense. You never want to say, oh, it's a loss you feel good for. But in a way, with Washington, with the way they played, I mean, to only lose by 7 against one of the best teams in football, definitely can hang your head high. And I mean, hey, Jaden Daniels is still playing great ball.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game coming into this. And even with the loss, they just still managed to keep it a one-possession game towards the end here. Like we said, it's going to be a statement game. And even after the loss, Jaden Daniels, he still played phenomenally there, so we're just going to have to wait and see how he does with the next teams that are above 500 on the schedule. And now moving on with the Chargers and the Broncos. Now, this game ended up being closer than we really expected here. I mean, the Chargers, they were up like 20 zip.
20 zip,
yeah. Can't fact check, either it was before half or at half, they're up 20 zip there. The defense was just balling for them. And that's one thing with the Broncos. I expect it to be a little closer for them because, this defense is kind of the eye-opener of why the Broncos are even still in close contention. They're still 3-3. They're still in the race. for the playoffs. But the defense is the reason there. But with Pat Surtain leaving with, I believe it was I don't know if it was a concussion or a lower leg injury. I still got to get fact check on that injury there. But already losing one of your top guys in that secondary, which is concussion. Okay, there you go. So already losing your top defensive players, specifically in the secondary, it's already a big loss there. And but it was pretty much a defensive battle. This offenses weren't really getting going. I mean, J.K. Downs in the rushing was pretty much the main reason this Chargers team was even ahead. I mean, the receiving end on this end, their leading receiver was Sammy Fajoka, which former Cowboy, 2 catches, 44 yards there. But none of these receivers really did not crack 50 yards at all. But like I said, this was a tale of two defenses, and when we're looking at Bo Nix as well. He had a good game. Don't get me wrong here. He came back when they were trying to, obviously put it up against this Chargers team, but they came up short there. And the Chargers team, who's relatively, usually has a pretty bad defense, they got it done against this struggling Broncos offense, which their O-line is still into play. They don't have a true back yet for this Broncos team. Bo Nix was their leading rusher with 61 yards there, but on the receiving end, it does look a little better there. Bo Nix, I'm still going to expect a lot more from him, and that's exactly what I'm going to expect, and he's going to do better.
Yeah, obviously that second half is what tells us so much about Bo Nix, being able to get the Broncos back into this game. And it's something that, we really, at least, me, from the expectations I've had from him, I love to see that out of him and really expect to see that moving forward. But going into the Steelers and the Raiders, obviously one of the more historic matchups in the league. I mean, this one was I guess you could say a stinker, but I mean, hey, pretty good game on the Steelers side. I mean, hey, Justin Fields running for 2 touchdowns. Obviously, him on the ground has been pretty phenomenal this season, if we're really being honest. Apart from, his passing side, obviously leaves more to be desired. That's kind of just been the story. But, I mean, hey, he's been managing his way through these games, and, he's got the Steelers to a 1-loss record. So to a 2-loss record, my mistake. But obviously, also on the run game, Najee Harris has been having his struggles, and he cracked a 106-yard game. Definitely a nice sight for him. And defensively, that's obviously the main story for the Steelers. TJ Watt, 2 forced fumbles. That obviously was the main part that really set the tone for this win. And as for the Raiders, I mean, it gets bad to worse. I mean, we see them bring in Aiden O'Connell, expect a QB change, and predictably didn't really do shit. I mean, obviously, you go from Minshew to O'Connell, nothing's really gonna change. I mean, the offense just looks flat, and then obviously we expected the defense to maybe pick up the load a little more, and they're not really being able to in these situations. So when we see, obviously just this morning, the Devontae trade just went through, he's gone. You kind of really expect the Raiders to just embrace the tank.
Yeah, at this point, tank for a quarterback. I know a lot of people are already getting Shadur, I think butchered the name, as one of the prospects here. We're going to have to wait and see there, but at this point, just tank. There's no point of going with like a quarterback playing already losing your star receiver. And now moving into the Cowboys game, man, this was just a complete abomination, a complete whole letdown.
To let this out. We want to keep these short, but if you need to let off some steam,
I'm gonna see how. Let's just start first. I mean, let's just get it going. That first drive with the Cowboys, it was looking good. The pass game was getting open. Dak was slinging in the ball. Into the interception pretty much just killed the momentum there. And as the Lions, Jared Goff, his first drive, they didn't have to do it. He didn't have to do anything. Literally, David Montgomery was just bulldozing through our guys. They didn't want to tackle. The tackling's still weak. I don't know if we lead the league in missed tackles, but I know we're up there. I know we're in the top 5 with missed tackles somewhere that I could get that fact checked in. After that first touchdown, no one wanted to tackle Montgomery. He literally just went into the end zone, and I kind of just, we saw the game. Everyone saw the game. We kind of just expected it, the type of game to be there. The offense wasn't getting going. Defense was literally getting their throats punched out. The Lions were not taking the Cowboys seriously. I mean, they were lining up their offensive line, Decker, everyone to try and get a touchdown. They get called back as a flag, legal formation, this and that. They were trolling us. They were not taking this Cowboys team seriously. And this is an eye-opener for Jerry Jones. It's coming back to you. Not making any moves in the offseason, not making any trades, not signing Derrick Henry, which is the biggest deal there. Damn well you could have afforded Derrick Henry for cheap, but didn't even give him a call. Derrick Henry went on and said that a couple weeks ago. The run game's not getting going. Dowdle comes off his career game against the Steelers, and that's not getting going as well. The O-line is chopped. Arguably the worst O-line play we've seen. Zach Martin had a 0 grade in pass blocking. It's tough to see that his decline is starting to happen there, but O-line's chopped. It was the giving Dak no time. Obviously, the interceptions, already know I'm a diehard Dak defender, but this game, a lot of it was on Dak, but some of it was on not, and I can gladly say that as well. it's just the tackling, the defense, the offense, the whole line, the run game, the receivers. There's a lot of playing here, and this Cowboys team, when we're looking at it, it's hard. Look, we're still 3-3. Even looking at playoff implications, it's still very, very scary looking at our upcoming schedule there. You know, already going on Jerry Jones, already going around, I believe it was the fan for the Cowboys, already threatening the man's job. I mean, that's already a bad sign to see that. Look, I can have my opinion on Jerry Jones, but this is just downright embarrassing for this Cowboys team. And looking at our next schedule, we're having a bye week. Something's got to regroup here, and I am honestly not expecting a good season moving forward, and nothing can get fixed up there. I mean, everything in this team is just chopped from head to toe, from offense to defense.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a surprise to see, despite, you know, obviously all the injuries you guys got.
Yeah.
I mean, to see, you know, 47-9, that's a astounding
At
result.
home as well, not even a home win
0
so far.
0-3, 0-4 at home.
0-3, 0-3,
0-3 at home,
3-0
yeah.
on away. Yeah, 0-3 at home,
Yeah,
3-0 away.
Obviously, we'd be remiss to forget to mention, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, just a heartbreaking injury that he sustained. That was just, obviously, you know, prayers go out to him. I mean, obviously out for the year, but I mean, just really, we hear that he should be back 2025. I know there was some speculation if it would be, you know, even worse, that it could be career ending, but thankfully it doesn't look to be. It looks to just be season ending, and, you know, hope to see him back healthy next year. But moving into another divisional matchup here with the Falcons and the Panthers, and I mean, the Falcons, I mean, Kirk Cousins just has this offense rolling. I mean, to put up 38 points, I'm sure, you know, it's the Panthers. You know, we can say all we want, but I mean, regardless, you know, the weapons are doing good. You know, Drake London's doing his thing. Even Kyle Pitts got into his own action. I decided to bench him on fantasy, and he decides to go off. So I mean, hey, good on him there. That's what he needs. And I'm really excited about the run game. I mean, we usually see, you know, Tyler Algier has a good game, Bijan has a good game. In this matchup, we got to see both of them really look like that formidable duo that a lot of people expected we could see. And, you know, if they could keep doing this, I mean, I mentioned this earlier, you know, the Buccaneers, you know, this is going to be, you know, such a good matchup moving forward, a great race to win this division. If that run game can really turn into that, you know, that two-headed monster similar to what the Lions have, I mean, that could give the Falcons an upper edge moving throughout the season. And, I mean, as for the Panthers, you know, we know they're not a good team, and then the injuries that they've been accumulating, you know, any good player that they have kind of seems to get injured. Obviously, we remember the Derek Brown stuff, but I mean, it's just tough to see, and, you know, it just gets worse. And I mean, bright spot, I can say, you know, Xavier Legette, sneaky good game. I mean, I know he only had a couple yards, but, you know, a really nice first career touchdown for him. I would really like to see him get more involved. I mean, he's getting like, what, 3-4 targets a game. I mean, if Andy Dalton can get him the ball more, or if Young gets back in it, whoever's that quarterback, they get him the ball more. I mean, they should be seeing a lot more success. And, you know, another really good game for Deontay Johnson, 78 yards and a touchdown. Really do expect to see him shipped out pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mentioned, like you said, I mentioned before with the Falcons rush attack, and I told you Bijan and Algier, they're gonna make a doodle. And then a quick fact check: this is actually Legette's second career touchdown. He got one against the Bengals and on the 29th there. So just a quick fact check on there. I knew I wasn't tripping on that, but regardless.
Okay, well, that's my mistake. Then the broadcasters messed me up because they said it was his first career touchdown.
No, it was a second. But yeah, forget about all that. Now moving into the Sunday nighter. This is pretty much just a boring game. This is really a snooze fest. I mean, I got some homework done while watching this game. I didn't even see what was going on until the second half, but obviously still caught up to it. Obviously, pretty much to sum it up, this is pretty much a defensive battle here. I mean, both these offenses, they looked a little lackluster. The only thing that upside about this is the Bengals, specifically in the pass game. T. Higgins and Jamar, they both capped off with T 77, Jamar 72 yards there. But this is really, once again, it's another tale of two defenses coming into this game here. And Joe Burrow, I mean, keeping it close with Daniel Jones in this attack here. You know, with that big rush yard, I believe it was 50-yard rush, a little over 50 yards rush yard touchdown from Joe Burrow. That pretty much in the first half, I believe so. I pretty much kept it off right then and there. But it looked like the Giants, they're building up a little momentum in the second half. Daniel Jones trying to get going, even with, you know, an with a lackluster rush attack. He was a leading rusher again with 56 yards. Tyrone Tracy, who came into a pretty good game, you know, 50 yards, one touchdown, kind of helped them out there. Kind of helped them there. But again, the pass attack with Daniel Jones, they all capped off 50-yard. Darius Slayton, Tyrone Tracy, Wan'Dale Robinson. But again, it all came down to the defenses towards the last play. And with the Bengals, we see how chopped their defense was. You know, coming into the season there. Sure, it's a lackluster Giants offense there, but from the way the Bengals have been playing, the defense really showed out today and capped off the win.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I told you this too. I didn't even peep this game. I was kind of just watching the Dodger game at this point. But yeah, regardless, very huge for the Bengals to rack up another win, as they need them as much as they can get the way they started. But move it into the Monday nighter, and I mean, hey, this one was a lot closer than I expected. I honestly really expected the Bills to pull away with this one more, but I guess you could say in large part, the horrible officiating on both sides. There had
20 something flags,
something like that. I mean, I swear there had to be like 10 in those final minutes. It's bad when even Aaron Rodgers was saying
the rough
the passer call is bullshit. Everyone knew. It was a rough look, but regardless, at least it wasn't teetering to just one side. So I guess we could say that. But going into the actual game, overall for the Bills, the main takeaway I gotta say from here, Ray Davis filling in for James Cook. Absolutely balling out. Really good to see the rookie doing good there. But in large part, I want to talk a lot about the Jets, and we have obviously a lot of stuff that just came out this morning, with the trade and all. But just overall, first things first, Breece Hall, finally getting back in his groove. I believe 113 yards. Fantasy managers have starting to get restless, and hey, good for him to get himself back in form. Unfortunately, all this really came down to Greg Zuerlein really channeling his inner Cody Parkey and hitting the uprights a couple times, and then Aaron Rodgers, that clinical late that late interception, which we can put a little bit of that blame on Mike Williams. He said he ran the wrong route or whatever, but
he slipped on it. Yeah, he slipped.
He slipped, and then Rodgers said he ran the wrong route. So I guess stuff piles up in that scenario. But regardless, just a costly interception to say the least. And then the one good thing that I can say, dating back to last week, the connection with Rodgers and Garrett Wilson is just really starting to pick up steam. You're really looking good. And my concern would be, with the acquisition of Davante Adams, as good as that sounds for this offense, what is that going to do to that connection with Wilson? And is that going to start hampering? And is Rodgers just going to start playing buddy ball with his favorite receivers like we saw with Allen Lazard?
Yeah, I still hate Lazard. I lost my fantasy match because of him, but fantasy aside, it's just gonna see he's gonna have to feed the snaps to Lazard, even Lazard with the connection going out, and with with Wilson that he's starting to connect, and then Davante coming back there. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. We're just gonna have to wait and see to see what Rodgers does, especially with the way now that Salah's gone for this Jets offense or the whole team in general.
Yeah, honestly, see what that trade can do for them. But that wraps up the games. This was my best week for predictions. Went 13-1. It was just Bo Nix falling short with that comeback against the Chargers that kept me from going undefeated. Christian, I 3-0'd you. I'm up 6 on you now. It's getting bleak. I think this is the largest deficit you've ever had when we've done this. So hopefully we get those disagreements in, and hopefully you make this a little closer. It's really starting to pull away. But regardless, that's going to wrap us up right now. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you like and subscribe, and be sure to come back on Thursday for Bean Talk 19.